Welcome to Sex and Soul, a podcast about all things related to sexuality, relationships, and the deeper dimensions of our lives. I am your host, Lynn S. I am a sexuality and relationship coach and mentor, as well as a tantric yoga teacher. I'm so excited that you are here. May Sex and Soul light you up from inside and change your life to be more orgasmic, joyful, and deep. Welcome to Sex and Soul, another episode. I am recording this because I got asked this question this week. How do you move on after a breakup? How can you be single and how all of that? So I'm just going to jam out on this topic and hopefully it serves you. If it does, please give me a 5-star rating. That really would be amazing. And also let me know. Send me a message on Instagram through my email, hi@lynns.com. Love to feel you, hear you. So, how to move on after a breakup. So, just for your information, like I'm single and I broke up with my ex-partner 2 years, 2.5 years ago. And so I know, of course, we all know we all go through breakups. It's part of our experience as in human as a human being, and it's intense. Yes, I think it's important to acknowledge that a breakup is like a death. You're dying and being reborn. That's the positive part. But first, there's the dying that happens. Yeah, depending on what situation you're in, of course, because it is there's a difference between taking the decision of leaving, and then of course there's the being broken up with, being dumped, and it's yeah that of course has an impact on how you experience the situation. I think what is very important is to have the moment of full grieving, of course, obviously, and to let your emotions come and to let your emotions be acknowledged. What I found very helpful is like I wrote a letter to my ex-partner, and this is actually what we use in the breakup process actually. And I guide clients through this also when people are actually in a breakup and they want to do this, like write someone like write your partner a letter, your ex-partner a letter, saying what you're grateful for, saying what lessons you have learned, saying what you wish for yourself for the future and what you wish for the other for the future. And writing those things down is a beautiful way to go into your own process, actually. Writing and then starting the grieving process, like allowing yourself to really cry, to be angry, to basically feel it all. There's a big process of letting yourself die, because it's a dying of, a future and a life that you thought you were going to have together. Even when you're the one taking the decision, that's still the case. There's still an entire future that disappears, and yeah, there's just the big unknown that follows, right? So there's a deep emotional piece of course, regret, of disappointment, of anger, of hurt, of feeling alone, of desperation. A lot of us, we have this, we are in our own bodies in this human experience, and we all know the feeling of loneliness somehow. Even actually when you are in a relationship, you can feel lonely. That's a thing to also understand. Like, people in our society, they focus on being in a romantic relationship, and at a certain, you're all supposed to have things done by a certain age. It's such bullshit. Yeah, it's such a source of misery, basically, especially if you're not fulfilling those expectations, or from society. Yeah, it's like, don't let's not idealize being in a relationship either, because being in a relationship is hard work, and people can feel alone, and you can feel alone while being in a romantic relationship too. So, you know when you go from a relationship into being single, there's such a beautiful invitation in learning to be alone, and what does it mean to be alone. And being alone is not necessarily something bad. On the contrary, it can be something so precious and so beautiful, because it all depends on the thoughts that you have and the way that you look at that. Like, if you feel like a victim of, like, oh, I'm now alone and poor me, then that is how you're going to experience yourself. And you might even isolate yourself from your friends, and choose to be on your own. And there's a process and a moment for that, right? And then there can be the story that you tell yourself, like, oh, I'm alone and nobody can be with me, and so on. Um, and then there's the positive way to look at being alone is like, wow, I get to finally create this intimate relationship with myself. I get to finally know myself in a deeper way. Because that's the thing, is like love is not, and to explore that love, yeah, beyond a romantic relationship, beyond, the validation and the love that we get through being with someone. Because there's safety in that, of course. If we have a good enough relationship, of course there's a lot of source of joy and love that comes from the other person. And what if that's not there? Like, wow, what a beautiful invitation to start giving that to yourself and to start receiving it in all the different ways. And that's also when you add in a relationship. So what I'm saying that now is actually just being human. It's like, okay, let's open to experience love in all the different ways in that we can. There's many different ways that we can receive love in our family relationships, in our friendships, in the relationship with self, in the relationship with nature, in the relationship with God, if you use that word, or universe, something bigger. So it's so available. And that's the thing, after a breakup, I think that's a very, very, very powerful to step into thing to step into. Like, okay, how can I feel love and receive love that goes beyond a romantic relationship and having someone that I call my partner, my boyfriend, my wife? Yes. And what are the ways that I also externalize or outsource love and validation, and how can I give it to myself? That's a huge one. And the more that has to do with this inner union. Yeah, I teach about these things. These are all things I teach in my programs and my coaching, by the way. This is all part of the Lane universe, let's say. So if you want this, please reach out, because that's what we can work on together. It's like, let me feel into this. How do I outsource love, and how have I been doing that in that relationship, and how can I start giving these things to myself? And then being alone is such a wow, it's such a gift, actually. Yeah, and I think it's important to also understand, like, love will always find you. There's people that get into relationships that, when they're 75 years old and they get married and they find a new love of their lives, or one of them. Yes, because we have several loves, of course, and amazing loves if we're lucky. So also the kind of trust of like, oh, love is here, love is available. It's beyond romantic love, and also that romantic love and that relationship, it will come back. There will be someone else. And it's important to take a moment to learn, to kind of, how I see it is like, oh, we have this opportunity to upgrade ourselves in between relationships. Sometimes people, they go from one relationship into the other, and that can be really a pattern of avoiding being alone, avoiding certain work, and then there's repetition of these patterns in the new relationship. And we all do that to a certain extent, even if you have breaks in between relationships. So the invitation is to really look at, okay, what was not working in this relationship, and what is my responsibility, like taking accountability for your own pieces in that. And of course, that if you're listening to this and you're in a relationship right now, you can also do that while being in the relationship. Okay, how am I contributing to the dynamic of my relationship? What is my piece? Again, it's way easier to blame the other and to say, oh, he or she or they. No, what is my piece? Like, how did I betray myself maybe in the relationship? How did I not honor my own boundaries? Or how did I not show up as a loving partner for him or her? Really. Like, I can admit that, yeah, I've done things in my last relationships that were like, I left on travels because I really needed to, and so on. And I know that I created pain for him. Yeah, it's different things that I've learned, and I really, looked at, and I'm still looking at, actually. So I'm still looking at these pieces. So that's an important thing, I think, when you're in a breakup. There's different phases in the breakup. There's the first months and weeks after, where it's really about this grieving and about processing and about letting go of that old version, and accepting that, okay, this is, it's done, and accepting also the lessons, right? And then accepting, starting to the process, because that takes time also to see, like, okay, what was my contribution in the dynamic? What was my what can I take accountability for? And if you want, you can apologize. Yeah, you can still apologize to your ex-partner, because of course the relationship and how you interact with your ex-partners, there's no, I don't think, at least rules about that. People say, oh, you should not have been in contact. That's not my experience. Like, I have, tried and have actually very loving relationships with all the men that I've been with and that were so insignificant in my life. It depends on how you break up. It depends on whether there's betrayal or not, and so on. In my case, that was not the case. So it's just like the fit is no longer there, and it's just best for our own evolution somehow, our own, yeah, just compatibility, and people change throughout the relationships, and you want different things and all of that. There's so many reasons why people break up. That's a different, I think, topic for a different episode. But yeah, acknowledging that somehow, acknowledging why you broke up, and apologizing when that feels necessary. Yeah, and that some cases it's enough to. We don't always need to do that with the actual human person, the human version. You can do that. Yeah, it's of course what I do with my clients in coaching sessions and programs and so on. Like, you can do that by writing down, by journaling, by there's processes with that, or that involve that, without having to do it with a human. You can do it on your own too, because you might not be in contact, for a while at least. But then you can also just look at, okay, this relationship is evolving. It's graduating from the romantic couple into a friendship. Yeah, because you have a deep karmic bond with each other. People that I know that have children together, they divorce or they break up. Come on, you're in a relationship for life. This is deep karma playing out for you. If you don't resonate with the word karma, don't worry. That's okay. Yeah, so that's a beautiful, I think, thing to do. And to also, whenever, to let yourself be supported. So important. So important. And of course, I'm a woman, so I think I see women, we are not all women, of course, obviously. It's like, we have our good girlfriends. Like, talk to your friends, ask your friends to hold you, really to help you, to support you. Because that's the advantage of being single again, is that you sometimes some people lose themselves a little bit in a romantic relationship where they become everything for each other. That's what makes the breakup even worse, because then everything disappears, because this person was your everything, which I don't think is healthy. Which I think is, in any case, in a healthy relationship, you have your own network, your own life, your own, yeah. But so if that's a little bit the experience that you're having, that's the gift of being single, is that you can focus on your friendships again, and on a new level. Yeah, and there's more and more and more and new people and friends that you can make in different ways. Yeah, and that's really an advantage of being single, I feel, because when you're in a couple, that disappears on a certain level, and it's different. It's not worse or better. Yeah, it's just different. So celebrating that, and really rekindling relationships, and letting yourself be supported and be seen, and like just admitting, hey, I'm not doing great, I need help. It's like, woof, that's huge. It's difficult for a lot of us. Yeah, like, we have our capacity, or not capacity, but our tendency maybe to, yeah, recluse and to be alone and so on. And sometimes it's really good to heal in connection, in relationship. One of the things that I find challenging of being single, because I'm also celibate, so I don't have casual sex, or I'm like, yeah, in this phase of my life, I'm ready for, like, now. um and took some time. Yeah, it will take some time to be ready for a new relationship, and that's totally fine. And there's no rules, there's no timing on that. Might happen, 1 month later. And it might happen 5 years later. It's not in our control. um but I, for example, I don't have, just casual sexual relationships with lovers. And so that means I miss touch. And that's something that I also ask my friends to offer. I ask my girlfriends to, we can touch each other, and we can hug, and all of those things. So really look for that. And that might be challenging for you to, to open yourself up to, depending on what family and culture you come from. Like, touch, hug your friends. Like, yeah, ask for it, offer it. Yeah, so you have that oxytocin, and you have, also pay for massages. And then, of course, become your own best lover. Yeah, this is everything I teach. It's like, we need to become our own best lover, mother, and father in this life. That's the inner union piece, and that's how we upgrade in between relationships. And then your next relationship, that it will be a different quality. It will be an even better relationship. We always grow. We always grow when you do, when you take the time to really reflect and be with yourself. That's beautiful. Yeah, and becoming your own best lover is like, oh, the most beautiful gift and the most beautiful thing to do, because of course our sexuality and sexual energy is so potent and so important, and so it can also be very present in our daily lives, depending on, you know, man, woman, and how old you are, and so on, and yeah, just a lot of different things. But it can really be something that can dominate the way that you relate to other people. And so the refinement of your sexuality while you're single is crucial. Also as a couple, but now I'm speaking on single people and after a breakup. Because uh, if you've been in a relationship, then your sexuality is connected to the other person. And, or it might be, depending. In the end, in my world, how I teach my couples and clients, it's like, no, you also have your sexuality, your own sexuality while being in a relationship. That is what makes the sex amazing while still in a relationship. But so now, again, going to the people who are single and in a breakup, it's like, if you haven't done that yet, that journey, like, this is a moment to become your own best lover and to disconnect needing to be and needing to have someone to satisfy your sexual needs. This is what happens when you have a lot of your sexual energy in your second chakra, actually, Swadhisthana, and your sexuality and your sexual energy is stuck there. Then it expresses, and it can be in a sense of, oh, I need to have sex right now. And then you go on dating apps to have sex. And then you're using people. You're literally using other people as a kind of sex masturbation. You know, you're not in, yeah, you're just, that's your primal motive, and that might be subconscious. You might not have awareness around this. This is an invitation to look at that behavior. Like, when are you on dating apps and reaching out to people to get that validation, to get that sexual release? Yeah, this is using, then you're using someone else's body. And it's one of the pieces that is very painful between women and men, because, and again, it's beyond gender, because it can go both ways. Women can do this shadow sexual behavior of like using someone. It's extraction. Yeah, like you're extracting someone from the other, like a vampire. You're objectifying, using a person basically for your own, yeah, for your own desire and arousal. So that's a very important part of, after a breakup, becoming your own best lover and refining your sexuality and your sexual energy. And that's the most amazing thing, because this is how you do the embodiment work. This is why I work with sexuality. It's one of my specialty. It's one of the gateways, yeah, to evolution, to become happier and healthier and just more of ourselves, and to create an amazing life. It's like becoming home as your own, yeah, your own best lover, because it's the life force energy that you're connecting with it in a conscious way. And when you do it, when you connect consciously with your own sexuality, your own sexual energy, there's so much confidence and love and power and radiance that is a result of that, without actually needing anyone else. And you become way more aware of like, okay, how have I been indeed satisfying the sexual need in a relationship and using people? That's a big one. It's a big shadow. And a lot of women, then, that's the point I wanted to make, have that pain, like, oh, feeling used by men. You know, people that go on dates and then if you have sex fast, which I don't always recommend actually, yeah, then a person disappears. So yeah, it's all things that can play out and that you can become aware of once you're ready to start dating again. Like, how are you, yeah, how what's the relationship with your own sexuality? How is this playing out? How are you using that to manipulate to get something from the other, etc., etc.? So yeah, become your own best lover. Open up to your own sexuality in a way more refined and powerful way. This is, yeah, what I can teach you in one-on-one coaching in my programs. Yeah, there's all kinds of things you have to do and to explore. So that's another element. And becoming your own best mother and father and this inner union is all related to this kind of inner union piece. It's like, okay, what are, I don't know if you know this, but we choose our romantic partners based on the pain that we've had with our mother and father. It's called imago theory. You can look it up. Is the fact that we are actually hoping to still heal the pain that mother and father caused with us without wanting that. You know, they did their best, and still there's pain. It's inevitable. It's part of the human experience, and we're actually recreating that pain unconsciously in the people that we choose. And so that's something to look at. Yeah, something to look at and to see like, okay, how did I recreate certain pain and hurt that I've experienced with mother and father in this relationship, and how can I become my own best mother and my own best father. So it's healing the mother wound and the father wound. That is what it is called, basically. And you can look at your reality to see, yeah, to have that, to gather that information. Basically, yeah. And again, if you need my help, I'm here to do that with you. Yeah, so that's such a beautiful process of being single and celebrating that journey within. And when you're ready, then you start dreaming again. Then you start really, and I think it's important to do that even from the beginning, as soon as it's accessible, because why not? Like, oh, this is a new beginning. And trusting, even if you have been the one that is left and you feel a victim and you feel anger and so on, like trust that even if maybe your ex-partner behaved in a like asshole way, or a bitchy way. Yeah, asshole is gender neutral, yes, because we all have one, yes. It's like, okay, trust that their decision, even if it was shitty and it seems like bad, is somehow good for you. So trust that there's a kind of underlying intelligence in the maybe even betrayal, even in the pain, in the way that it was done. Trust the decision that that person has taken, leaving the situation. As soon as one person decides, it's for both of you and it's for the better of both of you. So that one person deciding somehow on the subconscious and sometimes more conscious level has the wisdom to decide, okay, this is not working. And of course, ideally, a person knows that in time and doesn't go into shitty behavior and doesn't betray or cheat, or and does that in a mature way. That's all not always happening, of course. Yeah. But so that acceptance of the decision, and that acceptance and even honoring, if you are the one being dumped, like, this is a good decision, and I trust that, and I trust the wisdom of of everything that is happening. And then you open up also to the new beginning, like, wow, I'm free. Yeah, there's freedom in being single. That is amazing, right? And at the same time, again, you play with this, like, oh, I will find love again, I will find a relationship again, even if it's only in 5 years or 10 years, you don't know, right? You're open to that, to find that peace in your heart, that acceptance and that peace and that knowing, like, oh, I will have another relationship. Sometimes we can be like, oh, I will be forever alone, nobody's going to love me anymore, I'm getting older. I had these thoughts. Everything I'm saying is because I either observed it with the people I work with, or I up observed it in myself. Yeah, like, love will find me again in this way, and love is always there in any case. But a romantic relationship, I will find that again. So, okay, how can I now celebrate the freedom that I have now? How can I now celebrate and really, wow, be in this phase of, like, amazing, I have freedom, I can create this new beginning? What are things that I've been wanting to do, maybe you haven't done because you were in a relationship somehow, and that might be a sign. Oh, I've ignored certain parts of myself, I've not taken certain of my needs seriously, I've compromised a bit too much. Maybe yes, maybe no. That's a personal story, of course, your personal context that will help you look into that. But celebrate that freedom. There's a lot of yeah, like, also find other single people to celebrate with, and to, yeah, also find male friendships, female friendships, from the opposite gender, without them needing to be sexual. That's really, for me, the example or the advantage of being in a celibacy situation. Like, I know that when I meet men, they're becoming my friends most of the time now, like, up until now. Because, I mean, when my man is there, I will, I think, I don't know if I will know it immediately, I don't know, but my heart is open for that recognition, let's say. But so now when I meet men and they're interested in me, or something like that, I know, like, oh, you're not my man, you're not him, but I'm still open to connect, and I'm still open to have a friendship, and I'm still open to even practice being that woman, being a loving woman, being a soft woman, being, practicing the things that I've learned that I wasn't that much in my previous relationship. And I can practice that with every man that I meet, basically. So it doesn't even matter whether, he's my partner or not, or whether I want to be with him or not. Or it's like, oh, you get to practice showing up as that person, really. And that's also part of the process of that dreaming and that new beginning and the doing things and that freedom and like following your dreams. And then when you're ready, you will feel into, okay, what can this, new love and new person, what would it feel like to be with them? What would it feel like to meet them? um Man, that's a beautiful feeling. And then it's very important also to be like, I mean, different teachers and coaches say different things about that. And I don't know, yeah, if I'm so, I consider myself an expert, not necessarily, but yeah, I think what I can tell for myself is that, you always learn after the relationship, and certain things become clear, like what is more important, and it also changes throughout your life. Like now I'm 41. So what I find important now in my 40s, a new decade has started for me, is different than what I was looking for when I was in my 30s or my 20s, right? So it's like, okay, what is important for you now? What have you learned? And what are qualities in another person that you really are the most important? Like a couple of things, like how do you want to feel? And that will depend. And that's a beautiful process to feel into. And then it's about like, okay, who do I need to be in order to attract a man or a woman that has that kind of has those qualities, that is that kind of caliber person. Yeah. And then that means that you get to show up and practice and show up being that woman and show up being that man, with every person that you meet. One of my coaches, Annie, she says like, oh, every in my case, because I'm a heterosexual woman, like every man that is sent to you is like, you can imagine that your soulmate, my future husband. Huh? Is it you? Are you watching? No. Or maybe, I don't know. I'm not in control. Um, like she says, like, and it's beautiful. Every man that is on your path, he's sent by him. So he's like, it's all like little tests. So every woman you meet, if you're a man watching, depending on your sexual orientation, yes, every person you meet is like a beautiful test. And so show up. How do you show up? Yeah, it's beautiful. And then you get to see your shadows. Yeah, I get to see, man. I mean, again, I'm celibate, so I am open and I'm meeting people all the time. And of course, I notice shadow patterns. Like I notice how critical I can be of men. Wow, it's so heartbreaking. I can see, yeah, this comes from my mother line and all of that, and that comes from pain and insecurity and unsafety, basically, and centuries of patriarchy. Like there's real deep, yeah, stuff that we are yet to heal, and we're healing together somehow, and that in a woman that can come out, in a man too, can come up as being very critical of someone else. And yeah, like that's when you're single, like, oh, look at that, look at the shadow pieces that come up when you're in dating or in interaction, and own those. Yeah. Let me feel if there's anything else I want to say about, what happens after breakup and how, yeah, yeah, I think yeah, it's such a, again, repeating this, maybe like this kind of feeling of like, wow, celebrating this chapter in your life, because it won't last forever. And you will have issues again when in a relationship. There's work there. There's work when you're single. It's a particular diamond diamonds that come from that. And then there's lessons that come from being in a relationship too. So let's not idealize being in a relationship, and let's actually, because the idealization comes because we project things on the other, and we outsource love, validation, a lack of security and safety in the other. This is the inner union. Yeah, we're all invited to up level as humans. Doing it. It's like, okay, I'm not playing out my trauma anymore, or less. Or, I mean, we all do it, and that's okay, because it's just about the awareness. I'm playing out my trauma less. Yes. With the next one. Promise. um, it's just like, okay, how can I show up in the world with more inner wholeness? Yes. How can I love myself? And from that self-love, actually, a romantic relationship will come that, yeah, that will be also, that person will also be on that inner wholeness, more inner whole, let's say, because we always attract the perfect match for us. We always attract the perfect mirror for where at the state of our nervous system, our inner state, our traumas, our Yes, we always, as I said, we always find a reflection of certain things that we are ready to heal. We attract that in the other. So that's important to understand. You know, romantic love is not Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood is a lot of different things, but it's like, it's, there's an illusion of, you know, unconditional love. And I mean, not an illusion, that's not true because it's there, but to find it in the other, and that pressure, you know, and that's actually an externalization of our own inner, you know, inner pain that we still hope to receive, the love that we still hope to receive from our mother and our father, as I said. So that's a big piece to understand. Yeah. And the more you do that, the more you, yeah, create this love for yourself, while you're being single. Yeah, the more different, you know, the people that you will attract will be, and everything that comes to you is an invitation to look at yourself and to see, okay, how am I responding to this type of man, for example, that brings out my anxiety? How do I respond to a man that brings out my avoidance? Like, oh, this is too much, you're like too kind and too sweet and too, you know, all kinds of things that are so interesting to look at when you're single and you're when you're moving in the world again. So look at it as this beautiful, beautiful new beginning whenever you're ready, and just yeah, live life fully, accept yourself, love yourself fully, find love in all the different ways. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful to be single. It's very beautiful when you accept heartbreak and letting it not. And it's important. Last bit maybe is like not letting it make you bitter, not letting it make you, you know, think all women are bad because, you know, your ex-partner did something that you don't like and that hurt you. Same for men, you know, and that's a tricky one because we have these tendencies inside of ourselves to, based on our past experiences. Of course, we have karma and we have trauma from our family that comes through, all of that. Yeah, it's all present in our subconscious. Like we can generalize things and we can say all men are this, all women are this. Very polarizing, very bad idea. Like, let's not do that, you know. Bring compassion, bring compassion to hurt people, right? So the person that has hurt you, your ex-partner, maybe he did that because he or she was hurt. Yeah, so finding in your own healing process, getting to a moment of forgiveness, wow, it's very, very beautiful. And it's forgiveness is actually not so much about the other person, my love. I have a course that's called 16 Days to Ecstasy. It's very affordable, 44 euros, and it's 16 days with audios. And I speak on forgiveness in one of the days. Yeah, it's really 16 days to ecstasy, so it's really something beautiful. Maybe you want to offer this to yourself after the heartbreak can really help you. Um, I lost my train of thought. It's like, yeah, forgiveness is actually more for you. It's for ourselves. Because holding the grudge and keeping the heart closed, it's way heavier than forgiving someone. And you cannot force it. It needs to be a natural process of getting there. But yeah, try to get to that part of forgiveness at a certain moment. And it will take the time that it needs to take. And yeah, that also takes that, comes with that responsibility and accountability for your part. Yeah, yeah, I think that feels complete. If you love this episode, please give me a 5-star rating. So it's a bit cringe to ask for this, but everyone is doing this. Yeah, doing this. So I must also please, yeah, suggest this. Of course, you can come on my email list. You can send me a message. I have a website, and once you go through the website, there's a blog page on the one hand, and there's also a lot of freebies. Like if you browse through my pages, you'll see that there's free guides on all beautiful topics related to self-love, to sexuality, to relationships, etc. Yeah, of course, I'm on Instagram. Please follow me there too. And yeah, see you next time.